I'm muted too.
There. Now we're all unmuted. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Good times. Good times.
Amazing times.
As always, when I do shows, my mom and dad are always watching. So we're always going to get at least one. We'll always have at least one viewer. But when my mom and dad are watching, they always like to see where everybody's joining from. So, first, where are you joining us from? Pasha.
I join us. Is it correct to say?
Yep.
Thing to
Yep.
say? I join us from Berlin, and yeah, my mom isn't watching right now, so probably it's still one viewer.
Wonderful. And Kat, where are you joining us from?
Right. I'm joining us from Kazakhstan. That's far,
Wonderful.
far away.
And for everybody else that's joining in the live stream, when you say hello, please tell us where you're joining from. We have folks, hello from Brazil,
Oh,
and
hello,
hello from
Brazil.
Singapore. Wonderful. Hey, Victor.
Brazil is one of countries I still have to visit. Didn't have a chance one
Yeah,
day.
one day,
Oh,
one day.
Singapore is amazing, by the way. Yeah, Singapore
Yes,
just loved it.
one of my favorite places to visit. I had a really good time.
But very hot, very hot. But
It was nice. My big memory from Brazil or from Singapore was I went for a run, just a little park, and I ran into one of their big lizards. It was just like right by the kid park. He was like looking for lunch or something, because this lizard was bigger than a lot of the kids that were playing in the park. And I was just running, and I almost like ran like right into the lizard because it was just like out on the trail, and people were just like standing around looking at it. And I was like, does everybody else see this?
it's
So
just lizard, man. What are you
it,
talking about?
no, but it was like 6 feet long. It looked like it had some weight to it, and yeah,
I
that's
just
all.
No one in my family understands me, but terrarium is actually a favorite place in every zoo for me. I
Right on,
like huge lizards.
right on. Well, then Singapore, I see, is probably at the top of your list. I really,
Yeah,
really did enjoy my time in Singapore.
yeah. I mean, it's constantly raining and it's very hot, but it's so beautiful.
It was hot. It was
I
hot.
mean, at
I'm
least
trying
for
to think
me. For
if I.
it's like 80s there in Fahrenheit.
Yeah, yeah. It was nice. It was nice. Like I went for a run. It was never too cool, and it was clean, and I enjoyed the food.
Yeah, so your experience is not unique, DaShaun.
Yes.
They're just used to it. Like just a lizard.
Yeah. And I do hope to go back someday. I do hope to go back someday. Before we got on, we were talking about my little videos and what I'm trying to do better at making content. Just do the editing part. The editing part. I remember the first time I tried to edit a video, a 1 minute video, in this job that I've been in for 3 years. It took me 4 hours. Like I didn't know the tools. I didn't know what I was doing. It took me 4 hours to try to get this thing out the door, and I was just like, "This isn't for me. I'm in the wrong role." But the thing that I tell my kids, I tell the neighborhood kids, the kids that I coach, is if you want to get better at anything, you have to do more of it. So I've been doing more, trying to do more video editing, trying to do more, yeah, practice, getting more practice. And we were talking about Descript. It's a tool that I use a lot, and I use it for not just the video content. I use Descript for my written content, for my presentations. I do it a lot, and what I do is I'll have a conversation like this where we're gonna today talk about performance in Java 8, like how we can level up, and I'll have a conversation, and I'll take that transcript and I'll put that transcript into Descript. So even today, what I would do is take today's transcript from the show, throw it into Descript, and I'll use that. Hey, there's my outline. Here's the topics that we talked about, and I'll use that transcript to edit my blog post that I do afterwards, so that I could record once and get as much value out of that recording as possible. And then I can use Descript also to go in and create my little teaser trailer, the slice. So that's
And
one of the other
shorts,
practices.
YouTube shorts, TikToks, whatever, they like promote the tool this way. They say you do content once and then you reuse it in all possible ways. I don't know, Twitter,
Yeah.
X posts, I don't know, Blue Sky posts,
Yep.
shorts, Facebook Reels, whatever. They can do anything because you have your video and your text together.
Yep.
Like,
Yeah. So that's it. I'm a big fan of Descript, and that's my default go-to for that type of work. Sometimes if I need, yeah, like I enjoy our conversations, So I give you a call and hey, I just want to talk about this thing. No plan, no prep. We'll just talk about it, and then that can also I can generate my outline, get my thoughts together. Hey, we talked about this. Maybe I reorder it.
you're breaking our dreams because Kat has this beautiful presentation. We should prepare it.
Actually, yes, I have prepared a
Well, there you
great
go.
presentation slides and stuff like that. Yeah.
Well, fantastic. Well, let's.
You can only have one device paired.
Oh, sorry. It's before school time here, and the kids are all like anxious. We got a new 3D printer, and my son has been just printing. He's like, hey, well that printer's idle. Like I'm not printing anything, and that's giving me a fit. So he needs to print
Man,
something.
I'm so jealous. I mean, I would love to have a 3D printer
It's,
and enough time to deal with it.
Here's the thing. Like I've gone through this. I have a 3D printer right here. I've gone through this exercise a few times. This is my third printer, and I just gave it to my son. I'm like, look, you set it up, you do it. I've already done this dance. The nice thing about this situation is this is one that has like the box and it's got a cover and it's got different colors of filament that you can use, and it just works.
Man, this is so cool.
Yeah, the big thing is
So should you calibrate it or whatever?
yeah, he did all the calibration. He did everything, and it's yeah, it has all the fun buttons, and then it also has like a live stream, so like we can watch the print happening, and you can record timelapse. All that stuff is built in. With previous versions, I had to like connect a Raspberry Pi and do all that, and I would you had to
Man,
put
this
like,
is such a missed opportunity. We could pull, we could put the live stream of what's printing right now
Yep.
right inside the stream.
We could.
Right
We
to
could.
the background or whatever.
Yep, and that's neat. That's neat. So it's been fun, and there's a lot less setup today than what I had to do in the past, and because I can send the models, I can send it over Wi-Fi or over from my phone. That's pretty easy.
This is so cool.
So we're here now. I wanted to have this conversation because I spent a lot of time upgrading. I spent a lot of time with Open Rewrite, trying to squeeze out a little bit more performance from workloads. And we've been having this conversation, but honestly, I've not taken it for a spin. We've been having this conversation with a bunch of our customers about like the options that they have. I say all the time, I say JVMs are one size fits most, but not one size fits all. And yeah, I would love for everybody to be on Java 23, Java 24 when it comes out in March. I would love for everybody to be there, but sometimes there's other things that are happening. Sometimes it would be nice to not have to do the upgrade, or there is something preventing an upgrade. It'd be nice to be able to just switch out the JVM and not have to do a lot of other work and still get some of those performance benefits. There's always like the options, things that Kat and I have talked about before. We can improve the build pack. We can improve the image that we're pushing out, extracting jars. But we can use build packs. Build packs does a lot of that for us. We can also tweak the garbage collection. We can go and fine tune and see like, oh, hey, maybe for this use case, this garbage collector will be better. We can do
You can
something.
tune JIT. You can even select another JIT because you can use the like traditional C2, but you can put Grail VM JIT instead of it if you want. But this is all a little bit complicated.
So let's talk it. Let's talk about it. Like first of all, like what's the whole idea here? What's this idea behind this performance version of Java 8? Tell me about it.
Well, actually, I have prepared a little story about that. So this is a very exciting topic for me and Pasha because, there is a solution that helps you to stay on JDK 8 and leverage the performance of newer Java versions, right? And let me just share my screen.
Okay.
And right, so I'll tell you something, a little bit of why and when and how, and then I will hand it over to Pasha, and he will give a real-time presentation of the power of Liberica JDK Performance Edition with his demo.
You'll
Right.
play it by ear there, right?
Okay, so you can see my screen, right? Right
No.
now? No?
No,
It's coming. Here we
DaShaun
go.
should probably
There we
load.
go.
Yeah.
Yeah, right now. Okay, so right. So why can't we just stay on older software versions? Well, apart from the fact that end of life is coming for every software, right? There is the problem with the performance, right? So JDK 8 was released 11 years ago, right? 11. And it is still one of the most popular versions that are used in enterprise LTS versions. But unfortunately, as it is a deep legacy, there are very, very few improvements that are ported to this branch, right? So, and you can twist the JVM settings well as much, right? You can tune the garbage collector, but you don't have the modern low latency collectors in JDK 8, right? And that's a fact, and you can't do anything about that. So the performance stays on the same level, but the requirements for the performance of your applications, they increase, right? So users want faster apps, users want apps that process more requests, and so on and so forth, right? And we can't do that with older versions. And then the cloud costs can increase, yeah, because we have inefficient containers, we have applications that consume too many resources, start up slowly, right, or process fewer requests. So the best solution is to upgrade, right? So if you need better performance, simply upgrade or not. I'm very suspicious about the word simply here. I have no problem with the rest of the statement, but the word simply, well, that's kind of tricky. So there are, as I already said, numerous changes and improvements in the Java platform since JDK 8. But because of them, it's not that easy to upgrade the version, right? So you have to rewrite the application code, sometimes significantly, sometimes, right? And then you are also tied to certain library versions that are used in your project. You have to update them too. And these libraries are no longer supported. You have to find a substitution, right? And then the framework version, right? Maybe you want to stay on Spring Boot 2.7 for some reason, right? For some
I
time.
don't know why anybody would want to do that, but
Don't
it
do it.
happens. It
Yeah,
happens.
but still, if somebody, right? And then again, if you want to migrate to Spring Boot 3, the baseline is JDK 17, right? So you have to update the Java version, right? So, and then the framework versions, they also get improvements, right? And you also need to rewrite maybe something in your code. And then, rewriting, testing, that takes a while, right? But the thing is that we can divide and conquer, right? So there is the JDK, right? It contains the base Java libraries, development tools, Java runtime environment, right? And that is the most painful project part of the migration, right? But then there is the JVM, right? The JVM translates Java bytecode into machine code, and it manages memory, right? So that's where the garbage collectors live. And when you update the Java version, the JVM requires the minor changes to the code, if any, right? So there are maybe some JVM options that were removed or updated. But anyway, in any case, that's not as much work as compared to the changes to the JDK, right? And that is the JVM that we tune for performance, right? We want to tune a garbage collector, for instance, right? Or we want to use AppCDS, and so on. So that's the JVM that we are targeting. And Liberica JDK Performance Edition is the solution that is based on this principle, right? Divide and conquer. So it couples the JDK 8, right, with all of its APIs and JVM 17, right? And in this way, you can bring the performance of older JDK versions on par with modern JDK versions, right? So here on the slide, you can see the stack, right? So there's application code, the framework, the APIs, the JVM, and in case you upgrade the Java version, well, full Java version, you have to update all of these things. But with Liberica JDK Performance Edition, that's only one block of code that is changed, and that is the JVM, right? So, and you don't actually have to significantly rewrite the application code or change the framework version.
This sounds really, really kind of like too easy. Like, why haven't we done this before? This sounds too easy. What should we be aware of? What should we be thinking about right now? Because this right now, you're like, oh yeah, it's easy. There's got to be some catches, right?
Yeah, well, as it is, we are porting the JVM only, right? Not the JDK. So the APIs stay the same, right? So we, for instance, as we are going to do the same thing for JVM 21, we are not porting the virtual threads, right? So we are porting the JVM. And another thing is that something still was removed from the JVM. For instance, we can see here that JDK 8 includes G1 garbage collector, parallel, serial, and CMS. But as you remember, CMS collector was removed, right, from Java. So it's not present in Liberica JDK Performance Edition 8. So if you're using CMS, then you have to, well, switch to another collector, right? But the good thing is that you get two more collectors, right? Two new collectors, ZGC and Shenandoah GC, because they're not present in JDK 8, but you can find them in JDK Performance Edition 8, right? And they're production ready, and that's super cool, right? So there are not going to be any conflicts with your code or with your application.
I got a question. Which garbage collector is the default in the Performance Edition?
G1 GC.
Okay.
Yeah, and it was also improved, right? So during the evolution of the Java platform, G1 GC also received improvements. So it's even better than the one in JDK 8, right? And with AppCDS, for instance, in JDK 8, you have the basic class data sharing functionality, right? It was just recently introduced, right? So, but in JDK Performance Edition, you get dynamic AppCDS, right? And for those of you who are watching and don't know what AppCDS is, that is the JVM feature that loads a set of application classes and system classes, right? Stores in the archive. And when you start the application, the classes are loaded from the archive, right? Which is faster than loading them from scratch. And we have this dynamic AppCDS, right? Which is the best thing that we have for now. Right, and if we look at a couple of performance studies, right? So we took Spring Patch Clinic, and we did some benchmarking, right? So here you can see the results for the DaCapo benchmark. DaCapo is a set of real-world Java applications with different memory workloads, right? And we can see here that Liberica JDK Performance Edition gives 10% better performance, average performance, than compared to the standard OpenJDK 8, right? And the peak performance is 29% better. But the most exciting thing is here. Look, here we have the Big RAM tester, which is a benchmark aimed at measuring the performance of garbage collectors. And here we studied the latency, and with Liberica JDK Perf, you get 54% better latency with G1 GC and 1000% better latency with ZGC. You know why? Because there is no ZGC in JDK 8.
Yeah.
Right? It actually could be 1,000,000%.
Yeah, it could be 1,000,000%. Doesn't matter. But yeah, so we have something beautiful here.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you do not get new language features, but you do get all the JVM features you want and actually need.
So let me ask this. Have you worked with customers? Have you taken customers down this path? What's the feedback? Are we getting good results, mixed results? What are we running into? What do we see from the public?
Yeah, there are definitely no customers that are willing to say, folks, we are but Java 8 Performance Edition. I mean, this is something you probably would prefer to hide.
Right. Because you bring up a good point, because here's one of the things I'm trying to encourage everybody to upgrade. I'm trying to encourage developers that are out looking for a job. I ask them, like, look, if you've got two job offers, same money, same title, same stuff, two different companies, ask them, what version of Java are you running in production? What version of Java will you be using when you go into this job? Because not bad. If they say Java 8 and the other says Java 21, that's going to make a difference. And yes. I like to say, like, hey, if the street knew, if the market knew what version of Java you were running in production, would they want to invest more in your company or would they want to invest less?
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
I get it. You're right. Nobody's going to say publicly, hey, we're
But-
using Java 8.
But we have cool stories. For example, one of our customers, and again, we cannot name names, but they actually brought us results we didn't expect, because they
Tell me
said,
more.
somehow not only our GC poses dropped down like 20%, not only our throughput increased, but somehow our latency dropped down too, and for like 30%. And we were like, why? Well, I mean, we created the thing. We
Yeah.
cannot explain this particular effect. I know why it happens, of course, because I know why we can't explain it, because we kind of design engineer the JDK, but the real tester is the real world and the real production. There are only some corner cases you didn't think about.
Yeah.
And this is actually the source of all the bugs in JDK. I'm not saying that there are a lot of bugs. I mean, when they happen, it means that it's not like bad testing of the JDK itself. It's like the real production usage found some crazy corner case which broke the JDK altogether. And well, that's why you need support for JDK usually, because you do not know what corner cases you will hit. And this company, well, they just hit a positive corner case where somehow everything improved with Java 8 Performance Edition. Do I think that for them it would be better to migrate to Java 21? Yes, absolutely. Am I happy that they use performance? Absolutely. I mean, definitely better for them.
Yeah.
Better than just usual Java 8.
Well, a lot of our customers are shared customers. A lot of the Spring customers, BellSoft Liberica, the JVM is the default for our build packs. It's the default. It's the one that's supported, when you get support from Spring. And me and my pals, we're always trying to we want to help companies make money, save time, do those things. We want to help them get better. And we've been talking about this as being an option, right? When we're faced with an application that's tied to the Java 8 API, they're not able to upgrade because they downloaded this thing in 2013, and it's no longer supported, but it's crucial to what they do, or the person that wrote it has left, and they don't understand it well enough to upgrade, but they sure would like a 20% savings on their cloud bill. They sure would like a 30% or even a 5% at some scale, even a 5% savings in performance or just the memory footprint is going to be a differentiator for your customers, but also it's going to be a refund from your cloud. Your cloud spend is going to go down. And in some companies, that might get you a really nicely written email. In some other companies, your team might get cookies. I'm just saying, these improvements are awesome. We're always trying to find ways to improve. And I was asked, hey, do you think we can do this? So this is exciting. I'm glad you have some stories to share. I hope that we can generate some stories to share as well.
Me too. And when you're saying cookies, do you mean like internet cookies, or do you mean like
no,
because
like home baked chocolate chip?
Yeah, my favorite chocolate chip cookies. I mean, ask my son every time when he goes to the shop, buy me these nice cookies, and he does. I'm so thankful. So should we move on?
Yeah, let's. This is just, my head is racing. These big benefits, I like that a lot.
Yeah, we are coming closer to Pasha's demo. Right, so to actually switch to Liberica JDK Performance Edition, you don't need to do much, right? So, of course, you should make a list of JVM features that were removed or replaced in JDK 17, right? So there's the user guide, and I'm going to share the link with everybody, right? So, DaShaun, could you please send it to the comment chat, because I didn't log in to my YouTube
grab that.
We probably won't be able to open it, but we can.
All right.
Whatever.
So of course something was changed, right? So but there's not much, right? And you're making a list, and then you're downloading the LibreCDK Performance Edition package and install it just like any other Java version. Nothing fancy, nothing, right? So it's just Java, just on steroids, Java on steroids. Yeah, and then you test your app to ensure that everything is smooth. And even with the default settings, you can get better performance. But you can also fine-tune the JVM settings of your brand new JVM 17 in your JDK 8, right? To tailor them to your workload, right? And of course, Liberica JDK Performance Edition is not the answer to, well, migrate or not migrate. Of course, you should upgrade the Java version, right? Of course, you should upgrade this framework version. Yes, but with the Performance Edition, you can do that in a very smooth way, right? So if you upgrade the Java version, then that's going to be a very bumpy road, right? There are going to be compatibility problems, maybe licensing issues, testing, rewriting code, testing again, rewriting, right? And that's painful. But with Liberica JDK Performance Edition, you can migrate some of your more critical services, get the performance, and then smoothly migrate the other services, right, in a very calm pace, test, write the code, right, without stress, right, at ease. Liberica JDK Performance Edition is supported until 2031, so you have 6 years to migrate your application, right? I think that's, that guarantees that there's going to be no overworking, right? So guess that's a win-win situation. And we are moving to Pasha, right, and to his demonstration. Looking forward to it.
Fantastic. Let's get to that demo. That's like the easy
Let's
thing.
get it spinning.
Yeah.
So, speaking about benchmarks,
All right, I'm going to bring up your
saw
screen.
several synthetic benchmarks, right? Like this Da Capo and Bigram tester and so on. But I want to talk a little bit about real world applications. The thing with Spring Pet Clinic is it's a very simple application. Probably none of you has something that simple in production. Well, probably some of you, but usually Spring Pet Clinic is not considered as a performance critical application, right?
Right.
If you agree, then we should test on something different. And actually finding the code base, the project we should test on is relatively hard. But I found one. Another thing, we want to showcase the difference between the usual Java 8 and Java 8 Performance Edition, so the project should somehow work on Java 8.
Yeah.
The project I found is called ThingsBot. It's actually under very active development. It has like 18,000 stars on GitHub. Not that bad. It has 5K folks. So, it's popular. And if we look into its POM XML and we'll search for Spring there, so we'll see that it uses Spring 3.2 these days, which is not the newest, but definitely won't run on Java 8, right? So I had to find a release which still supports Java 8, which is kind of antiquated release, but it is somehow more or less close to what they have today. Obviously, it's more performant and so on, but let me tell you a little bit about the project itself. It's an open source IoT platform, and it's actually very sophisticated. They have all kinds of data. They have visualizations. They have automations. They support some JavaScript scripting and so on. You can run multiple instances of it. So for me, the ThingsBoard is almost like I would build in times when I still was a developer. Obviously, they have mobile applications and so on. They have a lot of stuff. And if you
It's
look,
a cool project. Yeah, it looks cool. I'm excited because you've given me something else to do because I'm a big fan of the IoT devices. I always have. I say always. I always have some Raspberry Pis that are being worked on within arm's reach. And I do a lot of this Edge, and Spring Boot on the Edge is actually a book that I'm working on. So this is right up my alley. Thank you for sharing this. Even if we stop right now, I'm like, great show. We did it. All right, let's keep going.
You already learned something new.
Yes, I did.
I am so excited. Thank you so much for saying this, DaShaun. So yeah, this is kind of huge project. You can see that they have a lot of modules in them. They actually have all kinds of issues with startup. So I actually came to Sebastian Deleuze like a couple months ago and asked, Sebastian, I'm really struggling to improve the startup times of this application. And as far as I know, the Spring team is looking into it because, well, it's actually complicated. It's not even that simple to run when you have a release binary, because if you will look into releases, they're like packages with all kinds of stuff, and these packages have all kinds of scripts to automate deployment and so on. It is complicated project, like absolutely enterprise grade project. If you wanna, you can experiment with it. Let me show you. I will try. Yeah. So I have a running instance right here on one of my laboratory services. I'm logged in as a tenant administrator, which means I have control over everything in the system, over our assets, whatever they are, over our customers. We have 3 test customers. We have some devices, including these 2 interesting devices called load device 1 and load device 2. You can guess. They are not like real devices. So this is just devices I will run my load tests on. We have devices profiles. We even have, some stats. You can see that I was trying to just in case to run my demo here, and you can see that there was some load some time ago. And of course, they have audit logs, which are very simple because it's me logging in every time. What I want to show, it's like, again, real life application. It's not a hello world. It's not a trivial application. It has everything that big application should have. It even has some kind of interface. Now, when we know something about this, how do I stop share? Yeah, thank you.
Uh-oh. What happened?
Uh-oh.
Oh, boy. We'll wait. Things happen. Things happen. And that's okay. Pasha
Right.
will
Pasha was
jump right
pushing
back
the
in.
buttons, I guess.
Yep, it happens. It happens.
Sorry, internet is hard. I constantly push buttons I shouldn't push. Sometimes it takes me into troubles. Probably not these times. Please do not fire me. So I want to show you what is my setup. Let me show another application with you, and this one will be probably something you consider boring. It's my terminal. So it's too small. Everything is too small. Now it's better. So I have.
But it's still too small.
Is it still too small?
Yeah.
I'll do better. Is it better now?
DaShaun? Because I
I
still
don't see
only...
Is it better now?
I don't see a change.
No, neither.
You don't see a change?
No.
Okay. I will reshare the whole screen then, and we'll see how it goes.
All right.
Is it any better for you now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so I have this directory called load. I probably should clear the screen. I have 4 running containers here. It's 2 instances of my application, here and here, performance and usual, and 2 instances of Postgres. I do not think that applications should share the same database. They perform differently, but if they use the same database, they will somehow affect each other's performance.
Right.
It would be unclean test.
Yep.
Let me also show you the Docker file, because there is something you need to know. So here is how I run the application. Java agent, all this all the settings you see here, it's a result of huge work of ThinkSboard developers. They thought how to optimize the application. They actually tuned their application to squeeze every bit of performance from it. With a lot of, for example, I do not even know what this means, to be honest with you. It's something very deep, much deeper than anything I know. And
so this is from the ThinkSboard project. That's their settings.
yes.
Okay.
And yes, and this is how I run it with Performance Edition. I only say that, well, I left here some of their settings, but I removed all the tuning of GC. I said, just you use G1 GC, please.
Okay.
So they tuned GC a lot. I didn't tune GC at all.
Okay.
Also, you can see this line here, Java agent :/agent jar. It's just an open telemetry agent that will report all the data into Signals. For those who don't know, Signals is an amazing tool for monitoring of essentially anything. And I have several dashboards here. Dashboard for HTTP requests. One of them is empty for some reason. Well, we'll fix it later, or we won't, we'll see. And one of them is essentially for hardware. And this one is for Java 8 usual. And this spike is when I try to run my load tests.
Okay.
Speaking about load tests, it is also a slightly complicated matter. I have this, give me a second. Here we go. Probably Java lovers will hate me. Come on, what's going on? Will hate me because my load test is written in JavaScript.
It's okay. It's okay. This is a safe place. Pasha, safe place.
Hopefully. Folks, I want to explain. There are multiple tools to write your load tests. They all have their pros and cons. The ones written in Java are called JMeter and Gatling. For Gatling, you should write your code in Scala. For JMeter, you essentially do not write code at all. You do everything in interfaces. And to be honest, the interface is very complicated. And you really should know what you're doing. For Gatling, I'm just not a huge fan of Scala. For me, it's too complicated sometimes, but I also have this test written in Scala. But I think it's just much easier to read it here. So we have two servers. They run on different ports. And we have essentially 4 scenarios. One of them says that we have 60 virtual users, who essentially stand for sensors, which during 40 minutes send random data as sensors, and we to each server. 2 virtual users to one server, and 60 virtual users send data to one server, and 60 virtual users send data to another server. We also have users. They read data from the server once per second. We also have some boring setup like what we are interested in our thresholds. We have some checks, but nothing really interesting. Like, this is how we put the payload. It's also a nice thing about JSON. Since ThinkSboard accepts the data in JSON, we can just put JSON to our server, and JSON is very native to JavaScript.
Okay.
Then it stands for JavaScript Object Notation. Yep. This is all I wanted to show you about the code.
That makes sense. So your test here is going to hit them in parallel. This is one of the things I recommend a lot is like, hey, I want to try out something new in production. Like, deploy it to production. Send some of your traffic to the new and some of your traffic to the old, and just do it side by side. Right? That's the easiest way to get like real world test. And this looks nice.
I would say that it's the only way out there. And something happened to my terminal, so we'll have to wait a little bit.
It's okay. It's okay.
It's live and issues of live demos.
Yep, I learn more
there.
when things.
You also can see that my servers have nice names like Munich and Berlin. So this is how I run my tests. K6, something, right? Yeah, something like this. This is all. Like, this is how my tests run, and they will run for 40 minutes, just creating this very dumb but sensible load for this application.
Okay.
I cannot underline enough how important it is to make sensible load tests.
Yep.
Because if your application, like ThingsBot, in our case, mostly accepts data, then it's probably tuned to accept data better than like retrieve data from database. So we should write a lot and read, well, sometimes, because our users do some activity. Now, when we see that it's running, hopefully we will be able to see something in our dashboards. Let me see. So what we see right now, let me talk you through this dashboard really quick. This is the left side is Java 8 Performance Edition. The right side is Java 8 Usual Edition. Like I don't know, Java 8 Hotspot. I actually didn't come up with any sensible name for it.
Yeah.
We have this status code distribution, and for now nothing fails, so it's just 200s all the time. We have this top HTTP endpoints, and here we can already see some difference. That in Performance Edition, average duration of request is 33 milliseconds, and in usual Java it's 40 milliseconds. Then we'll go slightly further, and we'll look at requests per second, and we'll see that in Performance Edition there are 6.5K requests per second. Well, obviously it's warming up and so on, so now it's already 7 there, but Java 8 usual just lags behind, and it will always lag behind. Sometimes they will be on pair during GC or something, but generally we can see that actually it's substantially faster.
Yeah.
We also see the slowest requests, and actually we can see that the slowest request is much faster in Java 8 Performance than it is in Java 8 Usual. Let's look at other metrics. I forgot to set it to auto refresh. Give me a second. Yeah, CPU time.
Yeah.
And here I should update it too. So here is the CPU consumption, and it's obviously maxed out for both applications. Each of them has 2 CPUs, and they're trying to utilize CPU as efficiently as possible, and they're actually very successful in it. So they utilize both CPU fully.
Fantastic.
Memory consumption. This this
is an important one for me. This is the one that's going to affect that cloud bill.
Yeah, but they will obviously, since the memory is also very limited.
Yeah.
Come on, what's happening? Since the memory is also very limited, they consume the full memory we give them. We can give them more resources. Yeah, I didn't show you this part in Docker Compose file, but I actually limit CPUs to 2, and memory to 2 gigabytes.
Fantastic.
Just to set some limits. We can do more, we can do less. We will always use that ThingsBot under full load. Will always utilize all possible resources.
Okay.
Non-heap usage is not too interesting, I think. Come on. Sometimes updates takes up some time.
I mean, it's under load. It's under a load test. So yeah, I get it.
Yes. Give me a second. It's jumping all time around, and it didn't do it before. I wanted to show live threads, live JVM threads. We can see that they use the same amount of threads. Well, it's kind of obvious because there are still no virtual threads in Java 8.
Yep.
Even in Performance Edition, the thread usage will be always the same. We can see GC performance. This one might be interesting. Let's look into it. 60, 90, 100. Wait, did I change the application? Thingsboard J8. Thingsboard. No, I didn't. Yeah, GC time. In median,
Yeah.
the GC time for performance edition is 40 milliseconds, while for usual Java it's 60 milliseconds. And it means that even for median GC run, we save like 30% of time, which is a humongous amount. It's not what we expect to see in median usually.
Yeah.
We usually expect median to be roughly the same. And we expect like 90th percentile or 99th percentile to be slightly different. But actually in 99th percentile, we still save 10% of time in GC.
Yeah.
Which is, in my opinion, just amazing.
This is huge because, right, we're a lot of our community is being asked to do more with less. We just want more performance, and we're not going to invest a whole bunch of money into it. So just help us, right? Because sometimes it's the 10 milliseconds that you gain from GC. Sometimes that's the difference. Sometimes that's the competitive difference that's going to affect your things, right? Affect your customer
Absolutely.
performance.
Absolutely.
If you're trading financials or whatever, like every millisecond counts. It's a competitive market, right? Survival's not mandatory. So squeezing out this type of performance is huge. And yeah, let's.
You know what else is
making this an
interesting?
option is big. Yes, tell me more.
The non-heap usage of usual Java 8 just grows, and it's growing fast. Compare it to what happens in non-heap for Java 8 performance. It seems that there is slightly more time for application to do its cleanup.
Yep.
So time to time, it can clean its non-heap memory.
Yeah.
Probably your application doesn't have a lot of heap memory. Strongly depends on which
Yep.
libraries you use and so on. But if it does, then well, this chart might make sense to you too. You can also see minor collection count on the left for performance. It's smaller than minor collection count than for Java usual.
Yeah.
So not only every collection takes less time, there are less collections,
Yep.
which means that memory layout is more effective. I don't
This is
know,
good.
folks. To me, this was almost eye-opening. I was very skeptical when I composed this test. I thought that we'll see like maybe 10% in worst case scenario somewhere. But no, I actually see with my eyes on a real or very close to real application differences in median values, in GC collection times, not in RAM usage and not in CPU usage, but only because the resources we give to our applications are very different. At some point, we will also see that there are more errors which Java 8 usual gives over Java 8 Performance Edition, because it just can't handle all the load we needed to handle, and so on. So decide for yourself. It's still running.
Do the test.
It's already
Don't just make a decision, Pasha. It's 2025, and don't read the news to make your decision. Don't do it just because we showed you a demo. Go test this for yourself.
Yeah,
you
absolutely.
gave us a really clear, and that's what I'd like to try to do is like, it's easy to see. You don't have to do a lot. You don't have to invest a bunch into testing your application. Let's switch out the JVM. Let's read the docs so you understand. If you're using the concurrent mark sweep, then yeah, it's not there. So you have some options. One of the things when I looked at the doc, is there also a performance edition for Java 11?
There will be. It's not released yet, or is
Yeah,
it?
Java 11. No, we have two versions for JDK 11 and for JDK 8. That's okay, right now, and they're coupled with JVM 17. And the plans are to couple JDK 8 and 11 with JVM 21, right? Yeah, and then further and further and further it gets.
Okay,
So
this is that's got to get complicated, right? It's gonna be fun. This is what a an amazing time to be a Java developer. This is exciting, and what I want to do, I'm going to change our view here. What I want to do is I want to encourage everybody that saw this, that's watching. I want to encourage you, if you've got applications that are running Java 8 in production, we'll keep your secret. But I want to encourage you to go take this performance version of Java 8, take it for a spin. Be the person that gets that nicely written email because you improved the performance of your application and you've helped your customers. Be that person because you saw it here. Like, go do that test. Because if you save the company money, right? If it's that memory consumption, depending on your scale, right? Even a 5% savings, even a 1% savings is savings. Go get it. Like, why would you leave money on the table? So that's what I'm going to say today. This is great. Can anybody go and download this Performance 8 version?
Well, it's a part of Liberica GDK subscription.
Okay.
So if you have Liberica GDK, if you're the customer, then you get Liberica GDK Performance Edition for free, right? Then if you want to test it out, yes, Pasha?
Yeah, I just wanted to add that, like, if you want to
Yeah.
test it, and we obviously do not have Performance Edition available on site to just download it and try, but you can contact us
Yeah.
from your like work email and say, folks, I'm interested in the thing. Can I please try it? We are more than happy to connect with you.
Yes.
And I personally am happy to help you with benchmarking or whatever other technical questions you have. Actually, the design of this benchmark is very simple, and it's built only on open source tools, not a single paid solution. Even the Signos thing, it's just beautiful. If you don't want to pay for New Relic or whatever, Signos might be a reasonable replacement for you. So yeah, I'm happy to help you, and let's find the best way for it together.
Yeah, that sounds fantastic. Do you want to share an email? If somebody
I
wants to
totally,
contact you, I know that you're on the socials. I know that you can be found.
it's pasha.finkelstein@bellsw.com, but yeah, give me a sec.
And then,
Here you go in the private chat.
yeah, and the thing that I like to say is when you come to my house for dinner, if you leave hungry, that's your fault. Right? We're going to feed you. We're here right now. We'll take a couple of minutes. If you've got questions, ask them. Don't, you're joining us on the live stream. Don't just sit there and be like, oh, I wonder. No, ask. This is the time. Ask your questions. And yeah, this is great. I'm super excited about this.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that, I think that I've got some customers that would be fun to go out and take this for a spin. I like to give them all the shortcuts, all the cheat codes that we can.
You know how to find me, and now they know how to find me too.
Yes, I'm just putting it out there for the world. So,
I
if you've
mean,
got questions,
it's
you wanna
everything
give
to
us a
me.
try.
Make the world a better place. It's all I dream
Make
about.
the world a better place. Yeah, that's fantastic.
Now,
This is good.
unicorns, rainbows, and so on, right?
Mhm.
And
I
spring, rainbow in
always-
spring.
Yeah, I always have this weird thing that happens when I hang out with you. It seems like time just flies. Like, it didn't seem like we went super deep, but yeah, here we are. And time does fly when we're having fun. I would like to do more. Kat, can we do this again? Can we, Pasha, can we
Of course.
hang out again sometime soon? Because this is fun. Thanks everybody for joining. And yeah, we'll get the next one scheduled and we'll come back and do some more stuff.
Join me on my DevNexus talk.
I'm sporting my DevNexus shirt right now.
Man,
I was
man.
looking for my BellSoft shirt. I was looking. I know that I have one in there, and I could not find it this morning. So I might have to ask you to bring another BellSoft shirt.
We'll bring one. We'll bring one for you.
But yeah, I'm really looking forward to DevNexus. It's gonna be fun.
See you there then.
Oh,
Folks,
wait,
come
we have a good
look at
question
us.
here.
Talk to us, to DaShaun, to me. What about WebSphere compatibility? This is an interesting question.
It is an
Do we
interesting-
still
this
have
is-
time to answer it?
Yeah, we're not on a schedule. We can
Okay.
stay as long as we need to. This is an important question, and I'll just say this is where a lot of the Java 8 workloads are stuck, right? They're stuck because they're stuck to a WebSphere or a JBoss or a WebLogic, and and they have
So
to use Java 8.
I'm very sorry, Carmine, if I'm butchering your name. Hopefully, I pronounce it correctly, but I'm not very good with names. So my idea is it should be compatible, but when you have WebSphere, you already have support from IBM, and IBM will honestly tell you that if you run WebSphere on a different JDK, not one we provide, then we cannot provide support neither for JDK nor for WebSphere. I'm not saying you shouldn't do it. I'm saying weigh your risks. And probably if you're already paying a lot of money to IBM because it's an expensive product and you have issues with WebSphere performance, you should probably ask IBM to fix them. Other than that, we are more than happy to test it with you and to provide Java 8 Performance Edition for you and run WebSphere with you and see how it works. And if you will be happy with it, we will be the ones who are happy to publish, I don't know, use case, anything, if you are okay with it and if your company is okay with it.
I get it. I get it. That was a great question, right? That
Yes,
is.
this was an amazing question. Again, Java should be compatible, but there is no way for us to really test it because to run like WebSphere, we should have JDK by IBM, and well, we do not have such clients yet. Maybe you will be the first. We are happy.
Well, I can say that coming out of today's show, I'm pretty certain that I've got a handful of teams that I will be going to visit, and I will try to help them do a canary, a parallel deployment. We're going to take it and we're going to go see, right? Because even if I'm getting support from IBM, if depending on the scale of my application, if I've got enough scale and if I get enough savings, right? That's easy math. That's what I call easy math. I can throw it into a spreadsheet. Hey, I'm going to pay $5 to get this performance upgrade, but I'm going to save $15.
Yeah, as I said the last time, it's easy to argue with me. It's very hard to argue with Excel sheet.
I love that. Yeah, it's hard to argue with Excel sheet. Let's get our team cookies. Let's do some work.
Let's do it, man.
Yeah, the last I looked, there's 442 builds of Java 8. It's been around for a while. 8.0.442. That's a lot.
Yes, that's a lot. Java 8 is still somehow alive.
It's alive because of, I think, we didn't get a lot of improvement for a long time, and there wasn't a lot of releases. We don't get releases of Java, or we didn't get releases every 6 months.
Yes.
And there was a lot of that middleware. There's a lot of WebSpheres, WebLogics, JBosses. There's a lot of those out there, and
the momentum has slowly built up, right?
Yeah. Software has changed. Maintaining software has changed. The performance requirements, right? When Java 8 came out, gigabit internet wasn't a thing.
Yeah, man.
Right? Like,
man,
that wasn't a thing.
You're making me feel old, you know?
Oh, well, Pasha, I'm just going to say, I started off, my first modem was a 1200 baud modem, but all of the places that I could connect to, they were still 300 baud. So
I just realized that the year 2000 is closer to my birth than to this moment. I feel so old. Yeah. I started working with computers before modems, actually. Well, at least before modems in Russia. So I remember not having network, and then I remember times without Stack Overflow.
Yep. So software has changed. We're being asked to do more. The requirements, right, on the other side of what we take to production, those requirements are different. People have faster computers, faster networks, and they're going to try to squeeze as much performance out, especially when they're running their businesses based on the stuff that they get from yours. So it's more of a concern today because of the speed of business. These upgrades, this maintainability, even when we can't upgrade to Java 21, Java 24, even when we can't do that, we still have to maintain the software that's been running that we've been building our businesses on top of. So we've got to pull that stuff forward. And this is just another option for me to pull something legendary, to pull it forward and add some value.
Hi, Dan.
Dan.
I
Dan,
did.
this is so amazing to see you here.
Yes. Dan, great guy. And hello from Prague. So this has been
one of my
wonderful.
favorite cities in the world.
This has been wonderful. Thank you so much. Thank you everybody for joining. Let's do it again soon. And thanks.
Let's do it.
There's no more questions in the chat, so we'll wrap it. But you guys stay because I'm gonna hit the button, and we'll see everybody else soon. Oh wait, I should do a quick. I'm gonna take a selfie. Smile, say cheese. There we go. Got it. And all right.
Smiles.
All right. Take care, everybody. But you two hang on, and we'll say
care.
goodbye to everybody else.